Right, we're joined by Chairman Steve Hamer this afternoon. Steve, welcome, but unfortunately some sad news today, or disappointment for Bristol Rovers supporters.
Enormous disappointment. We've been at this for 18 months, and sadly, its negotiations have broken down.
Disappointment for you and the owners as well?
I think so, yes, indeed. Certainly massive disappointment for me because I'm here most days, and it doesn't take you long to recognise how much it means to our fans, and that's important.
The statement was put out by Dwayne Sports, the owners, and not Bristol Rovers Football Club. There is a distinction, isn't there?
Massive distinction. Dwayne Sports are effectively the owners of this football club. That statement and the effect it's had on us, we are the consequence of that statement.
Negotiations have been ongoing for, I think, something like 8 years before you arrived and since you arrived. And to get to a point where I think you almost concluded a deal and for it to fall away at the last minute must be something very difficult to take.
It is. I think, both sides, and, respect the confidentiality of both sides, have spent an awful lot of money in trying to bring this to the table. But unfortunately, it hasn't happened. And, I think possibly if we'd been embraced as warmly by the other side as we have been this morning, we may have a bit more progress a bit earlier, but we haven't been.
Were you disappointed with the statement that was put out by you?
Not so much disappointed. I think that really really internally they should have recognised that that this is pretty important to us, and maybe they should have, what they've said today should have been considered a lot earlier in this. Because you'd have to say that they may have well missed the boat now.
In the 18 months that you and the owners have been at Bristol Rovers, you must have made some close acquaintances at UWE with the people negotiating.
Yes, we have, and I've certainly attended several meetings. We've always been warmly received. There's always been a good indication that this was something that they were eager to do, but we seemed to be always we'd make one step forward, and sometimes we make 2 or 3 back, and we seem to be starting every month from a new position. We just didn't seem to find the common ground.
And it all hinged on a deadline, I believe, of 31st of July.
I think Dwayne Sports took the decision that we weren't really making any progress, and I think they introduced a deadline date to accept some heads of terms which are integral in moving the deal forward. That deadline was July the 31st. And for whatever reason, that deadline wasn't acknowledged. And sadly, come Tuesday morning, the decision was taken that this wasn't to happen. And I think if you set deadlines, then they should be respected.
Do you feel in your heart of hearts there's any way back for Dwayne Sports and UWE to get together again?
I don't. No. I don't. But never be surprised that anything in football surprises you.
We have to ask about a plan B. What now for Bristol Rovers, for Dwayne Sports?
I think plan B, or whatever the alternatives are, have to be, because the family of Dwayne Sports have invested an enormous amount of money in this football club, and you've got to give. We're in the entertainment business. We have to give the fans what they want, and that's better facilities. And many of them will feel very let down that this has fallen down. Many of them have been at Eastfield supporters, and here, and what we now need to find is an acceptable solution to improve where they come and watch their football every other week.
Has planning permission expired on the Memorial Stadium project from about 10 years ago? Is that still in place?
I have been busy this morning unearthing bits and pieces. It's not a field of expertise that I have, particularly in terms of property and leasing, but it's something obviously that we will now have to explore.
Any other sites available? They're few and far between.
I think they are very few and far between, although I'm sure we will be inundated with proposals and opportunities of where else we can probably go.
Disappointing day, but a new season to look forward
Yes.
to on Saturday.
And I'm very optimistic that we're in a good place on the playing field. The manager certainly is very eager and very keen. He thinks he's got the squad that he wants. I thought we acquitted ourselves against West Bromwich Albion extremely well last Saturday. So the signs are good there. Difficult start away at Charlton. I mean, they'll obviously be as ambitious as we are. But, it's looking encouraging on that side of the business. But that's life, isn't it? You win some and you lose some. And I think today's a day where the news hasn't been as good as it might have been. But, who knows? This time next week, we could be in a better place all round as a club.
It's also a day where we've broken last season's record for season tickets. That must be a pleasing aspect. So what message would you have to support?
Yes, I'm reminded of the great boxing promoter Jack Solomons, whose great line was, "Never mind the publicity, as long as you spell my name right." And it does reflect, doesn't it? You have a day like today, and actually we were selling season tickets. So, and I'm also reminded of, the sort of Wimbledon position of, the crazy gang of the 80s when they were, they did everything in reverse, didn't they? The ground was appalling. They turned up in an old beaten banger to away matches. And but I think if you've got the spirit and you've got the unity and you've got the, if you like, the commitment and the hunger and the camp to win and play football games, that's what counts. And we got to cling to that for a while until we get our house in order in terms of where we're going to be, what facilities we can offer.
Just finally, what message have you got to the fans?
Stick with us. I think the Al-Qadi family are 100% behind. I don't know where these rumours are coming that there's a sort of abdication in the making. Stick with us because we've put an awful lot of work into this in the last 18 months, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I've enjoyed all the pre-seasons. I've enjoyed watching the games, watching the young lads, play and integrate in the first 11 and the first team. So yeah, I think it's a good one.